Oh my God! Deep to right field, way up there and way out of here.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to a Game 6 recap of the World Series. And unfortunately, it did not pan out the way that we had all been hoping. Joined tonight by good buddy Regz. No cute introduction tonight. Not a lot of excitement tonight.
Man.
A lot of mixed emotions, truly, as you know, the season wraps up, that we'll get into here over the course of the show. But yeah, sucks, man. Really sucks.
It does. I don't know how to. I'm not sure. Like, I'm dealing with all the emotions. Like, this is literally what, 20 minutes after the game ended that we're recording this.
Yeah.
So it's still very raw. As soon as Kyle Tucker squeezed the ball in his glove, I turned the TV off and told my wife I'm not fucking watching that stuff. So I just turned the television off. I'm just so back and forth between how the series started and how we came back home to Philadelphia and the feelings that we had after game 3 and what we're feeling now. It's just a massive conflict in my head. Like, I'm emotional. I'm upset. I'm trying to be a little bit positive. It's not helping. But, like, this was an unbelievable run from a team that we didn't think it would happen. We were happy going into the playoffs, beating the Cardinals and then leaving it there. And this team decided to go on an unbelievable run, and it caught up to him, man. It just caught up to him from top to bottom. It caught up to every single player, and I think even the manager. And they got beat by a more experienced team who wasn't afraid of the moment, who never got nothing like was ever too big for them. Listen, man, they just got beat. They just got beat. And that's how it goes. And it sucks because I think we all, after game 3, were like, holy shit, we're going to do this. Like, it's going to happen. And to see it come to an end is devastating. I don't think there's a much better word, to be quite honest.
Yeah. Yeah, 2-1 at home. You know, all the momentum on your side. And then Regz, honestly, at that point, the thing that took over was pitching.
Yeah, absolutely right.
You know, free agency starts like Thursday.
It's
already
wild.
in baseball. And look, we'll get into this. I'm sure we're gonna brief on this throughout this show. There are gonna be jobs up for grabs on this roster.
Yeah.
Especially after this World Series performance from a couple of names. But yeah, they were beaten. Plain and simple. I mean, that's a good team.
Yeah.
That's a good team. But the problem for me is they were beaten by a rookie on multiple occasions in this series.
For no reason. They made mistakes to a rookie for no reason.
Yeah.
They knew how to beat him, and they just couldn't execute.
No, like we saw it late in the game. His last at bat, he just threw him a whole bunch of breaking balls and he swung over him. Like the book is throwing breaking balls.
Yep.
He hits fastballs, but just throw him breaking balls and he chases.
But breaking balls that just don't spin over the middle. Like, the problem is Wheeler made a mistake. He threw a curveball that was supposed to be inside that broke literally middle.
Right.
Like, if you throw it anywhere else, this kid misses it.
Yeah. You know, dude, I said this to you, and I'm gonna say it on here too. That inning started because of a bush league play, and
I'm completely with you.
I at the end of it all, you're still not winning that game by scoring one run.
Right.
Something else would have
Right.
happened. I'm
Right.
sure that would have, led to what it led to. But I'm so furious.
I know
that John Smoltz made it sound like it was some
sort of genius play, right?
I am so mad about that because John Smoltz talked about pitching and good pitching and all throughout the course of the postseason. We had him in every series. And he praised Wheeler for pitching to both sides of the plate when he was going well and all of that. And then the moment that happens, he acts like he would have been livid if that was
right?
1993.
Yeah. Right.
And Dalton or Kruk or Dykstra or someone would have done that to him. Like, get out of here. Get out of here. Now, granted, and then, Altuve breaks his bat and they can't get two. And then obviously the dribbler up the middle, they just found every single little hole that you can find on a baseball field.
Every single one.
Every hole you can find on a
hit and
baseball
run
field.
worked. Every hit and run worked for them. Every bloop single, every little bunt hit by freaking Gurriel. He hit 4 of them. Yeah. On balls that didn't make it to the third base bag.
Yeah.
And the Phillies didn't have any of those. They had no bloop hits. They had no swinging bunts. They had nothing.
And we go back to some of the outs that were balls that, oh my gosh, could have been something as simple as the stop line drive tonight.
Yeah.
Late in the game, or the Segura ball earlier in the series, or the Edmundo Sosa ball that
4 feet to the left, it's a home run.
That's 12 rows deep at Citizens Bank.
Yep.
That ball.
I know.
That ball is.
Other people had similar plays like that, right? Where they have to go into that corner where if it's 5 feet to the left, it's a home run.
We did not hit one ball to that fence in this series.
Not one.
The magic ran out.
It did. It did.
The magic ran out on this team, and that's okay. It's okay. The hard part to swallow is, and you were trying to be super positive texting earlier, is it's so hard to get back to this point.
I know.
And I know the Astros have done it, but look at the division they play in.
No, that's fair.
And point. There are, again, I just think that the difference in teams in the National League, you have the Yankees and the Astros essentially in the American League. It feels like every year it's the Yankees and the Astros.
Yeah.
The Central blows.
Yeah.
Cleveland's
winning it with our record.
Yeah. The West blows. And the East has 2 to 3 good teams every year.
Yeah.
The problem with the National League is you have the Padres who aren't going anywhere. You have the Dodgers who aren't going anywhere. The Central, look, the Cardinals won that division walking away, and they're not a very good team. So I don't think I'm shaking in my boots. But we have the Braves and the Mets in our division, and the Marlins aren't going anywhere with that pitching staff. So
I think
it's not going to be easy, man.
You're absolutely right. It was one of the rare times I was trying to be positive, and you shat all over me. But here's what I'm going to go back to. This team made a run with maybe the worst hitting possible. I know Reese had
a record 71 times.
So I know Reese had his moments in the Atlanta series. That's fine. He didn't do much in St. Louis. He had 4 games where he played well, and then absolutely turned into hot garbage in the World Series. I'm going to give JT a pass because that man has literally caught almost 80 more innings than any other catcher in baseball. We're going to give him a pass because he's an absolute workhorse behind the plate. And like you said, he makes the running game null and void for the other team. He just does. but you can't hit him third anymore. You just can't. You have to find a different place for JT because he's going to get tired.
I don't think that'll be the case next year.
He's going to get tired, and you need people in front of Bryce Harper who get on base. You can't keep bringing up Bryce Harper with nobody on base. I take it back to that double he hit in the last game, the game before this one, where Reese and JT both got out before he came up. Put anyone on base, and that double turns into a significant inning. You have second and third with one out or something like that, right? But he comes up with no one on the bases because these 2 and 3 hitters can't get it done. And look, Gene decided to turn into a terrible hitter. Bryson Stott is a rookie who Pena just stole his lunch money, And if you're talking about the rookie shortstop matchup, Bryson Stott loses by a lot.
Oh, well, he won the MVP.
Did he win the World Series MVP?
Yeah.
I didn't even watch, so there you go.
Yeah.
Bryson Stott lost it by 1 million. Alec Boehm had his moments, but still was not consistent. Brandon Marsh, despite his couple of good at-bats, still just has to learn to put the ball in play. That dude, for some reason, has an uppercut swing as a fast lefty. He should just be looking to pound the ball in play somewhere.
Yeah, I'm anxious for him to have a full off season.
And that might happen. Listen, it might happen because we got him for 5 more years locked up, and I'm very happy about that. But this team ran out of gas, plain and simple. They ran out of gas from top to bottom. Other than maybe Schwarber, Harper went from hitting 471 to 355, a 100-point dip in batting average. Bryce Harper didn't strike out for 3 series. And in this series, just, again, he came up with his hits.
A lot of it was him trying to do too much.
Yeah, for sure. Because he was the only one who could do anything.
Yeah.
Everyone else who walked up to the plate. Nick Castellanos, do we even need to speak about it? That guy hit 309 last year? Again, it looked like he didn't know that baseballs could spin and move different directions. So that's the team that made the World Series this year. If you really look at it from top to bottom, it was an impossible run. Impossible. And if we get anything from Nick Castellanos that looks like the Nick Castellanos of 2 years ago, just think about just that being the difference. All those times Bryce gets on, just think of somebody who can actually put a ball and get a hit being behind him. It's been his whole job. And he's failed miserably this year. You talked about spots being up for grabs, and I think it's such a great point. And I'd love to run through them all with you. So maybe let's just get your opinion on just the lineup as a whole before we jump into that.
Well, so it's funny because the offense is putrid. I mean, 71 strikeouts, World Series record. They hit under 150 in the World Series. So there's that too. They kind of went into a shell at the worst time. I said to you earlier that I hope the lights on the stage didn't get too bright for them, and they did. But in the same breath, that's an Astros team who won 7 consecutive games to get there, and the Phillies won 2 games in the World Series.
Yeah.
So, they had no business winning those games.
No, they did not.
From the extent of what the Astros present.
No, absolutely. They were an underdog for a reason.
Truly, and look, there are going to be people who are really mad at what I'm about to say. But this is how I honestly feel, and I'd be up for the debate with anybody. Zach Wheeler's probably the 3rd starter on this Astro team.
Second. Well,
you think he's better than Fromber?
Oh, yeah.
Framber had like 29 quality starts this year.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that.
The guy is unbelievable. Like,
yeah.
Like,
but for no reason. Why?
Well, because
you're
it's
smarter
just
than me. You have to explain this to me. That guy has nothing special. He throws 2 pitches.
But they're both high quality pitches.
Whatever.
I mean,
how much film do we have on these guys that like these hitters can't fucking figure it out?
But he didn't just do it to us. Like, he
I
does it all year.
understand that. Whatever is my continued response.
And look, Zach Wheeler's awesome, and maybe he'd be the number 2. I don't know. I what I'm saying is, if you look at this series in a vacuum,
yeah,
he's the number 3 starter.
Aaron Nola is the number 5 starter.
Aaron Nola is not even in the rotation. He's not even in the rotation. Now, all right. So, all right, let's talk about that, because
Okay.
we'll go to the offense then, and we'll run through the roster, because why the hell not? It's 20 minutes after the World Series, and we're already going to talk about the roster for next year.
Why not?
But let's just look at the difference in pitching, right? Like we were going to go into a game 7 tomorrow with all of our confidence in Ranger Suarez, which is fine. We love Ranger.
We do.
But we've said it on the show before. Ranger's in number 5.
Yes,
like he's
he
in
is.
number 4 and number 5. He's got no pulse. He is cold-blooded as it gets, but he is a number 5.
Yes.
We had multiple bullpen games in this postseason. And as much as people want to get on Topper for the decisions that he made with the Nola Wheeler starts, and we'll talk about that here in a few minutes too, he managed them to this point.
Yeah, for sure.
Like they don't get to this point without Rob Thompson managing
worked.
until the last 3 games. Until the last 3 games. And in the last 3 games, there was something else besides Topper and the decisions that went down the drain. This offense went down the drain.
Yes, it did.
So, we can focus. I've seen multiple tweets tonight.
In the last 2 games, the Astros scored a total of 7 runs. We were averaging that at home.
Yes.
Like, we did not get blown out of these games.
No.
Not a bit. And that's pitching that is not up to par with this Astros team.
And that's what I'm trying to say, because people I'm seeing tweet after tweet about, I'm not going to forget this pulling Wheeler, and I'll remember this for the next 100 years. If that's where you want to focus your attention, on the decision to pull Zach Wheeler when you scored 1 run.
Yeah, right.
1 run. I don't know what to tell you. But you haven't watched a whole lot of baseball.
3 hits.
You just haven't watched a whole lot of baseball.
Yep.
Because again, did it work out? No. But questioning Rob Thompson after the postseason that this guy had is ridiculous.
Listen,
you can do all the revisionist history that you want to do in this moment. You can armchair manage him up and down, back and forth, across the street, down to CBP, down to Houston, Texas. The offense let this team down. Yeah. They let this team down. The best moment this offense had tonight, aside from Kyle Schwarber, was Edmundo Sosa, player 25 on this roster of 26. Because I don't know who else you put behind him. Maybe Nick Maton, because he hasn't seen sure. Whoever. He's 24, 25, somewhere in that range. Put a charge into a ball. No one else. Alec Boehm had a single. Yay. JT Realmuto had a single. Yay. The offense is what lost them this series. You want to blame someone? Blame Nick Castellanos.
Yep.
You want to blame someone? Blame Rhys Hoskins. I know I'm also exempting JT Realmuto, who caught a record number of innings, which worries me about next season.
It does.
So much. It really worries me for next season.
Gene Segura
let them down. Yeah, and I love Gene.
Bryson Stott, you give a pass to. That dude's a rookie in his first ever playoffs. But he was horrible. He was awful in the World Series.
again, Pena was fantastic, but Stott's going to be fine. I'm not worried
For sure,
about
but he
Reg's
was
Stott.
not good.
You can look at the Brandon Marsh situation from, game 5 with
Yep.
not being able to get a run in. I reflecting on that on the drive home, I'd probably consider going to Nick Maton there, a guy who makes a ton of contact.
Who just hits the ball. Yep.
Yeah, he just makes a ton of contact. And I understand why you didn't. It's a huge moment. But it's something to consider in that spot. And again, like I'm second guessing Topper, but I'm second guessing Topper in a very different way because we didn't see a whole lot of him having to maneuver the lineup.
Yep.
That would have been a
he
spot
really couldn't
to maneuver the lineup. With the DH, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
But there's criticism to go around all the way. Even Schwarber bunting with 2 strikes tonight in the 8th. Like, I don't know what that was about. Harper struggled. There was no one that stood out in this World Series offensively. Sure, they had the 7-0 outburst. Sure, they scored 5 runs and 6 runs in the first game. Like, all that stuff is great. But that's
it, right? That's it.
All that stuff is great. But in game 2 they fought. In games 4, 5, and 6, this offense went into hibernation.
Yeah. They
couldn't have chose a worse time. Before we go into the lineup and looking at just a brief glimpse into next season, we're not going to have enough time to do a turnaround for the free agent stuff because it happens I think on Thursday. I think free agency
we're recording next Thursday.
Yeah, we'll maybe we'll throw something together. I want your thoughts. I want your thoughts on. I kind of gave mine already about the Wheeler thing. Obviously he was caught off guard. He said that after the game he wasn't super pumped about it. But your thoughts on it. I mean, clearly Alvarado, he was also overworked, overused, in the postseason. But your thoughts.
I don't want to be, like you said, that armchair quarterback, that armchair manager. My only thing is that I think there's a difference. If Alvarez had been like even 1 for 2 with like a double off a Wheeler, I think that makes a huge difference in making that decision. Yeah. Alvarez were 0 for 2 with nothing contact. I get it that Wheeler hit someone and then he got the ground ball he needed to Altuve. You know what I mean? He got the ground ball he needed. Pena, he just threw a bad pitch. Listen, I'm going to say this very clearly. I completely understand why Rob Thompson did it. He's been consistent, and I think that's the biggest thing we look for in a manager. Are you being consistent in your decisions? Like, Joe Girardi was never consistent. It made no sense half the time who he was bringing in to face somebody. It makes sense to bring in a lefty against the lefty. And look, like, Alvarez is an unbelievable hitter. He almost did better against lefties than he did against righties this year. Both of his OPSs were above 900 against either pitcher. That guy's an unbelievable hitter. And this time, Jose Alvarado lost. The past 4 times, it worked. You know what I mean? That matchup worked. You just got beat this time. And you've got beat by a ball I've never seen go farther, maybe than Schwarber's home run in San Diego. You didn't lose to like a Trey Mancini home run. You know what I mean? To like a Chas McCormick home run, to a Maldonado home run. You put your best against their best, and their best won. So that's what makes me. I don't love it that he took out Wheeler, because I think Wheeler's looked his absolute best in this World Series, in this game. And I think you kind of, if this is any other game besides Game 6 of the World Series, Wheeler stays in for this inning. Do I think Topper played his matchups? Yes. Can I question him on it? No. Did we get beat by a really good hitter? Yes. I just look, man. Sometimes hitters do what they got to do, and frickin' Alvarez stepped up and he just beat us. He just beat us. I think the matchup was right. I don't. The thing that I will constantly go back to is that I don't like pulling guys when they're under like 70 pitches. I just think it's a waste. I'll continue to think that regardless of what happens. Like, who knows? Wheeler could have given up that same home run. He could have spun a curveball up there, right? That Alvarez completely bombs to right field. You never know. We'll never know. But I just don't think the biggest thing that I key on is that I just don't think with starters who are supposed to be your ace, you can't take them out at 68 pitches. You just can't. Like, regardless of, I completely understand the matchup. It's worked 4 times already. Everything points to bringing in Alvarado at that time. And I'm not going to second guess it after the fact because that's just stupid. I just wish we could, sometimes I wish we would just let that guy keep going. The starter, that is. And that's all. I can't question it because, again, it worked. It's literally their best hitter in their lineup, and you played the matchup. There's nothing like systematically wrong with that. You just got beat this time, and sometimes that happens. It happens, and that's what it was tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about it, and I hear Smoltz say, like, this will be it for Wheeler if he doesn't get Pena. And as I see Pena hit that ball, I'm like, oh, that's
Sosa should have been 2 steps left or to his left.
Yeah,
that dude only hits balls up the middle.
They had a little semi shift on him. I'm not sure why. If he's in actual double play depth, that's at
least Altuve's probably out, right?
Oh, it's a double play ball.
Yeah,
it's a double play ball.
It wasn't hit that hard.
Yeah, but if you're in the right position, it doesn't matter because you're going to come up on it.
Yeah.
But I understand the people saying he overmanaged, but man, no one gave a crap when he was doing it earlier in the postseason and it worked. Like it's the whole revisionist history thing. If Alvarado comes in and gets a fly ball, like he's done twice against him in the series, everybody's like, all right, cool. It's a 1-1 game. Okay. Like, now it's just down the stretch. You just go get outs, and the rest of the Phillies bullpen did get outs. They scored their runs in that inning.
It was
crooked
one
number
inning all the time.
That's it. It is one run every game with this team.
Yep.
And sure, Wheeler could have stayed in the game and got him. He got him to pop up twice. Once to shortstop. So sure, he could have gotten him. But like you said, he could have left a spinner over the middle of the plate
just as easily as he hits that ball. Wheeler spins one like he did to Pena.
Will we ever know?
No,
we won't.
We will not.
But the result is the result the result. And I will go back to saying that you had 3 hits tonight. You scored 1 run tonight.
Yep.
You blew multiple opportunities last on
the day before
on Thursday night.
Yep.
Like they didn't deserve to win the series.
No.
The better team won the series.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. So lean on that as your crutch all you want, but if you're ignoring the fact that this offense was as bad as it was,
literally awful. Like it's not just they were a little bit bad. Like that's the difference. It's not like they were just not good. They were abysmal.
Yeah.
Like there's a difference.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
And it is because, I mean, we'll get into this, so I won't go in too far, but like they were awful. They weren't just bad, they were historically awful.
Yeah.
I hit my microphone up in my face because I'm so freaking all over the place.
That's all right. That's all right. So here's the thing. Let's just, you know what? It was a great like I've been trying to think of like my favorite parts of the postseason. Obviously the Harper homer.
Yep.
Game 3 of this series was a blast.
JT homer.
Game one of this series was a blast. Being at all the games that I was at.
Yep. I'll never forget that first playoff game back in CBP, Game 3 against Atlanta.
If someone would have told me back in June that I'd be able to go to, the NLDS, the NLCS, and the World Series, I would have laughed in their face.
Yep.
I would have laughed in their.
We would have laughed in their face the day before they went to Houston.
Never in a million years believe them. Yeah. And we got a chance to live that, right? Like the Harper home run in St. Louis, the barrage of offense against Atlanta, in all the games,
yep.
Outside of the 3-0 game that Wheeler started in Atlanta.
The Schwarber home run in San Diego.
Schwarber homer in San Diego. Oh my gosh.
The Bryce home run at home.
Yeah.
Like that is an iconic Phillies moment.
Right. All of these moments that we got to live. And yeah, it stinks right now, man. Like it's hard. And here's why. Like it's hard because you get that far and then you feel like you have to win.
Yeah.
You feel like you're the team of destiny. You feel like you're the team. And for some reason, the broadcast kept making the Astros seem like they were the team of destiny.
Oh, yeah.
Like they just won a World Series.
They've been to the ALCS. They did not want the Phillies to win.
No, the story was the Astros, and that's fine. It is what it is. And that's what makes it hard. And I said it earlier, and I texted it to you that it's just it's tough to get back. So like once you're there, you're like, crap, you don't win it, and you might not have another chance.
Yep.
That really like weird Royals team got back a couple of times. The Dodgers got back a couple of times. The Astros have been back a bunch of times. The Yankees haven't been back since 2009.
Listen, man,
And there are people that believe that this Phillies team is a lot like the 93 team. I don't believe that. I don't see this roster as the 1993 Phillies that were aged and not good and just got lucky and loved each other.
I don't see that either.
This roster's better than they're younger than that. They're better than that team didn't have a Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
Like, let's not go there. But do I think they can get back? Sure. Do I think they're going to have a run like that? I don't know. It's going to depend on what the roster looks like heading into next year and
let's
the construction that they have.
Let's talk about that.
So clearly they need another top tier starter. We have Andrew Painter waiting in the wings. We won't see him until June, July, probably. So I'd anticipate getting a lot of, Bailey Falter starts at the beginning of the year, or, maybe they try and bring in they could truly trade for a starter if they look at one of the guys on the roster who really let them down, in this postseason. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. That one's going to be a little more in depth here in a few minutes. But they definitely need to visit the rotation and add there, whether it be via trade or a guy like Carlos Rodon. They have to get another top tier starter to put alongside of Wheeler and Nola. Because you gotta have four starters in the playoffs.
And let's just say it very bluntly. Those guys have to change their routine to be ready for the World Series. They weren't ready.
Well, again, we've said it in the last show. They both have not pitched this deep into the
but that's what I mean. This has to lead to learning moments.
And I think it does for everybody.
And I'm with you. But it has to be a thing that these guys have to change their routine, that their arms have to be ready for this kind of playoff run. They have to
Sure.
be now.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we'll see. Obviously, Wheeler and Nola will be back at the top. Ranger is there. Andrew Painter will be on this roster.
Do you think Eflin goes back to a starter?
I think Eflin's gone.
Oh, all right.
Unless he wants to come back as a reliever.
Was this this is the last year of his contract?
Yeah, he's
okay.
He's done.
I
So
gotcha.
tonight might have been the last time we watched Zach Eflin.
I mean, he did well again.
Yeah, so I would truly try and convince him. I mean, teams will be out there trying to sign him as a starter. I don't think the Phillies should be one of those teams. You know,
I think especially with Painter coming up, why bother?
Yeah. I for me, it's you know, you come back as a reliever, you'll be a late inning guy for us, and you go from there.
Yeah.
You know, so your rotation, you have 3 spots locked down right now. You could essentially say 4. You could bring in a veteran on a 1-year deal, a guy who's floating out there. If you want to bring like a Syndergaard back, something like that.
Fritz thinks Verlander's coming.
Potentially. I mean, you know, he could certainly be a guy they consider on a 1-year or 2-year deal at a lot of money, but and maybe, maybe. Maybe.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hate that. I wouldn't hate that at all. And truly, if you're bringing a guy like Verlander in, you could help a dude like Painter when he gets here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they definitely need to look there. When you look in the bullpen, you know, there's still a lot of
They need
value
more than 2 guys.
Yeah, but there's a lot of value and talent in that bullpen.
Yeah, sure.
That, you know, goes underrated. But my God, wouldn't it have been nice to have Hector Neris in the 7th inning this year?
Yeah, it would have.
Congratulations to Hector.
God, he couldn't give up like 1 run to us just for old time's sake.
No, because he's really good, and
I know
Philly
he
fans.
is.
I
And
said
he was
this,
in the perfect position. My wife asked me this question. She said, "Why are they pitching Hector Neris?" I said, "Because he's the best 7th inning guy we've ever seen." And she's like, "Well, why was he so terrible for us?" I said, "Because we tried to put him as a closer. He's not a closer." And I said, "He's the greatest 7th inning setup guy you've ever seen." And that proved out. He's unbelievable.
he is. He's very good,
Yeah.
and people want to act like he was one of the worst relievers that ever pitched in the city. Guys, you're wrong. He's one of the better relievers that ever pitched here in Philly. He just pitched on really bad teams and got
like really bad teams
and got put in spots that no one would succeed in. Like he just wasn't a closer.
That's right.
And when you put him in a different role, he's dominant. So he went to a team that didn't need him to be a closer, and he was dominant.
Yeah.
He was dominant in this
really
postseason.
good. Really good.
Good for you, Hector. I'm happy that you
I'm not happy, but good for you.
yeah. He's the only guy on that team I'm happy for.
Yeah,
truly.
that's fair.
Like truly. I mean, I don't like that team. Actually, you know what? I lied. Trey Mancini.
Well, okay.
Very happy for
all right.
Trey Mancini.
You gotta be
very happy for Trey.
You gotta
Mancini.
be okay for that guy.
Yes, very happy for Trey Mancini.
What that guy has come through is unbelievable.
So obviously you have Ranger and you have Alvarado. Connor Brogdon's back. Andrew Bellatti's back. So you've got, you know, those four arms are still there. You're going to have to replace Brad Hand. You're going to have to replace David Robertson. You might have to replace Zach Eflin. I am praying that Zach Eflin wants to return.
I'm not sure.
Really hoping on hope.
I'm not sure why you wouldn't.
I just think he wants to start.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think in terms of, you know, being a starter, he's not getting that opportunity here. And I think he knows that. Kyle Gibson's gone, but he wasn't. Oh, Nick Nelson's back next year. I know Nick isn't like a world beater by any mean, but that dude ate a lot of innings.
He's a regular season inning eater. You need one of them on your roster. You just need one.
You've got 5 guys out there. You absolutely need need 3 more dudes. You need another lefty, and you need another high leverage guy.
Yeah.
So if you can convince Eflin to come back, you've got 6 relievers. You need 2 more guys that can come out and get you outs, and they need another high leverage guy.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't know enough about the free agency market to dig
I'm not
into
sure
that,
who's
but
out there either. We'll have to look into that.
at least the relief market. I can talk to the other stuff. Pretty well, but we'll have to look at that before we talk on Thursday. Thursday free agency starts at 5. Baseball free agency doesn't move like
no,
NFL
it doesn't.
Free agency.
No, or NBA. Yeah,
So,
it takes. A little
we're
bit.
we're not going to be rushed. We
Yeah.
could probably do our free agency show.
Yeah, a week later and
next
still be
Thursday.
fine.
Yeah, and be okay without anything happening. If you jump to the bench, I think they're fine.
I agree. I think if they can, I think Sosa's been really good.
Sosa's a perfect guy.
Do we
get
him for another year?
Oh, dude, he's around for a while.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
beautiful.
I'll look at his contract.
No, that's
He's only
great.
25.
I think that's great. I think Sosa's a great asset to have on the bench.
He's only 25.
I think Maton sticks around. I think Maton is a great one.
Maton, Sosa, Stubbs are for sure 3 of your bench
I'm perfectly
players.
fine with that. After that, I have no effing idea what they want to do.
He's not a free agent until 2020.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, that's great.
Veerling will be back. He'll be on the bench, which is fine. Again, regular season wise, there's nothing wrong with having a Matt Veerling on your bench. There's not. He's fine.
But do we need to think about more than that? Maybe that's my question to you. Do we need to think about more than that? Not just having a guy who's fine in the regular season.
I don't think so, because you saw the Astros backup center fielder in the 9th inning twice.
Yeah. No, it's a fair point. I think it was just a question, I think that's what I'd like to ask you about, like what does a guy like Matt Veerling bring you if your goal is to make the World Series?
He brings you the defense late in the game. He brings you speed off the bench.
Yep.
And you know what? As much as we criticized some of his at-bats in the postseason, he's not supposed to be successful in the postseason.
No, he's not.
He's not meant to be.
No.
He's, they had to play him because Marsh isn't quite there against lefties. You hope after, next season, Marsh should be playing against lefties pretty much every day.
And we have him for 5 more years, Brandon Marsh.
Right. So, like, for us, what Matt Veerling gives you. Matt Veerling is a really good 4th outfielder. Think about what we've gone through in terms of like outfielders over the course of Matt Veerling had some huge hits for this year for this team this year. When you think about their turnaround in June, he was one of the reasons they beat Josh Hader. So
literally one of the 2 reasons.
Yeah, Ian Bomer. So, I think when you consider what he does, there's a lot there.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you've got, I'm just trying to make sure I'm getting through all the numbers here. 17. Okay. So yeah, you've got your 4 bench players. I don't see them doing a whole lot more with the bench. I think what you see is what it's going to be. I think it's Maton, Veerling, Sosa, Stubbs.
Yeah.
I think that's your bench. And I think there's nothing wrong with that bench.
No, I agree.
I think that's a young bench. You're not paying them a lot.
No, right. That's the biggest thing. Right.
Not a single one of them will make more than $750,000
right.
next year.
Exactly.
So, that's what you just need guys who can come and get you hits and
play defense. Like that's the whole point.
Play defense. Yep. And honestly, all 4 of them can.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all 4 of them did. When you think about these guys, Sosa got here late, but he had some big hits.
He did.
Down the stretch. Maton had huge moments. I mean, Garrett Stubbs.
A guy who's not afraid. Like Maton is not afraid to just come in and do whatever.
And Garrett Stubbs had some huge hits for this
against lefties.
Huge hits. Remember the walk-off against the Marlins?
Yes, I do.
I mean, he had huge hits. So, that bench is fine. They're not going to, I don't think they touch it.
Yeah, fair.
I don't think they touch it.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the lineup. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go around the diamond because we're not going to try and guess.
Yeah. That's fair.
So JT's back.
Yep.
There's no doubt there. Gold Glove really came around offensively late in the season.
I don't think he's playing as much next year.
No, but I worry because he's in the World Baseball Classic, so he's going to catch more in the offseason.
But that's what I mean. I think in the regular season next year, we're going to see a lot of Garrett Stubbs.
We might see 2 Garrett Stubbs starts a week.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You have to let this guy get a break.
At least early.
Yeah.
The other possibility, Regz, is that the next guy we're going to talk
what you're talking about. Yep.
The next guy we're going to talk about, there's a way to replace him that could
help JT go off his knees.
That could land JT at first base a few more times a week. Now look, going back to JT. Part of the reason he's worth the $20 million a year is because of his defense.
Absolutely.
So he still has to catch 3 to 4 games a week to even catch that value. And you got to be strategic around who he starts for.
Yes.
Because Wheeler he needs to be starting those games because Wheeler doesn't hold runners well.
Yep.
Nola doesn't hold runners well. He needs to start Nola games. Ranger holds guys pretty well, and depending on who else they bring here, but those are things you have to consider in that world.
Mm-hmm.
Then we go to first base.
Here's where I don't know what else is out there. So, what else is out there for the Phillies to get? Because I think
Regz,
I'm going to say this very plainly. If there's a better first baseman, it's time for Reese to go.
Well, I don't know if it's about finding a first baseman. Is there a first baseman on the roster? Because
maybe Bohm.
That's what you need to consider. I mean, I love Reese. Reese has done so much for the organization.
Yeah, listen, we were the ones saying you better not boo Rhys Hoskins when he comes up to bat.
And I know the real problem will be what it does in the clubhouse because he's so well loved in the clubhouse. He's like their union guy.
He can't be the 2-hitter.
Correct. And I think some of that, Regz, was because of necessity in the playoffs.
Listen, I'm not talking about what happened already. I'm not talking about what already happened. You had to leave the lineup the same because you had to. Yeah. I get it. I'm not doubting what has already happened. I'm talking about moving forward. Rhys Hoskins cannot be your number 2 hitter.
Right. So here's how this could all work out. Because we could talk about both of these two in parallel while we're here. Reese and Gene both struggled in the postseason. What is easier to replace? A middle infielder, aging middle infielder, or a first baseman who's going to hit you 30 to 40 home runs in the regular season?
An aging middle infielder.
And I love Gene.
Yeah.
But there are a couple of really good middle infielders in this free agent market. One that I have talked about ad nauseum.
Trey Turner.
Ad nauseum. I have talked about that guy ad nauseum. You add him to this lineup, Reese is no longer hitting second.
He's not.
Reese is no longer hitting second.
Schwarber's not hitting first either.
I mean, essentially, Regz, what you could arguably do next year, and I don't know if it would be early in the year, but Bryson Stott could hit leadoff, and then you could move Schwartz down a little bit.
I would go Trey Schwartz.
Yeah, but then you got to worry about Bryce and Schwartz back to back. So there's a lot there.
Trey, Schwartz, Bohm, Harper, Castellanos.
Sure. I'm fine with it. But here's ultimately what I'm saying is I know how much Reese struggled. But if you're confident that like you're confident in Reese to hit 7th, 8th in this lineup, then getting rid of Gene Segura's $17 million makes a lot of sense.
I
It
agree.
makes a lot
I
of
think that's
sense.
the first place to go. If we're being honest, I think it's the first place you go.
He's going to be 33.
Yeah. What's Trey Turner, like 27?
29.
Oh, really? Older than I thought.
Yeah. So, but he fits right in the window of where they're at right now.
Yes, he does.
Like he's right in the wheelhouse.
Next 4 years, right? Yep.
Yes, your window is the next 3 to 4 years, and he adds a dynamic to this roster that we don't have. He hits 300.
Yep.
He gets on base.
Is lightning fast.
God,
lightning
can that guy
fast.
fly? And defensively, he's
fantastic.
A freak.
Yeah. So
he's a freak.
Does he go to second base or does Stott?
No, he plays shortstop.
Stott goes to second base. Yep.
Because I really do like Stott as a shortstop, but he's not a shortstop.
He was a natural second baseman, right?
Mm-mm.
Where did he come up? He came up as shortstop?
He played second. He played shortstop in college and shortstop in the minors.
All right. Anyway,
he plays a really good
figure out
second
second base. He'll figure it out.
Yeah. Oh, he was fine when he played there this year.
Yep. Absolutely.
He was fine when he played there this year.
Yep.
And arguably, I think he was better offensively when he was playing second base too. I again, Reese, streaky as all get out, not a great defensive first baseman. He's just not. But I don't know. And again, maybe you can replace both somehow. I don't know what's out there. I mean, I'll look up the first baseman market.
Yeah.
Here while we kind of banter a little bit.
Here's the thing I'll say about Reese. Has the dude come up from the minors and been like the franchise guy? Yes. Has this postseason run proven that he cannot be a World Series first baseman? Also, yes. So if you have the opportunity to find a World Series first baseman with Schwarber and Harper and Castellanos getting his head out of his ass, and like a Turner right at shortstop and moving Bryson over to second, you have to do it. There's nothing about Rhys Hoskins that makes you keep him other than sentimental value. And if we have anyone in the front office who I don't think is swayed by that, it's Dombrowski.
Dombrowski
does not get worried about that stuff. What is the best team I can put on the field? Rhys Hoskins is not a part of the best possible team you could put on the field to win the World Series. He's not. I appreciate that he hit those home runs against Atlanta. You can't do what you do at first base and then be a zero at the plate at the same time. You can't do it. You can't do it and be a extended playoff starter. You can't do it. You can't. Flat out. You just can't. And that is what he is. That is what he is.
So, sorry, I'm looking up a couple things here. I'm just trying to figure out. All right, let me give you the first baseman, the free agent first baseman here.
All right, you give it to me. I have to pee like a racehorse, so I'm going to mute and you talk about the first base.
That's amazing, and I'm glad that that's going to be on the air eventually at some point. All right, so as we look at free agent first baseman, there's no one age-wise that I love here. Jose Abreu, 36 years old, down year this year. Anthony Rizzo, 32 years old, was pretty good for New York. Josh Bell, 30 years old, Philly killer. Brandon Belt, 35 years old. And then it just goes downhill from there. I mean, if you're looking for defense, Eric Hosmer's there. So if you're looking for that, you're just not going to get a whole lot of offense. He's not the same player. And And, the Phillies don't really have a pipeline of first baseman kind of hanging out. Derek Hall doesn't hit lefties well. So I don't know. I don't know what the solution is there, unfortunately. I don't have a great solution as I look through it. So the Rhys Hoskins debate will go on probably through the offseason. There's potential that, he could get dealt for something, reliever, starter, high leverage reliever, starter, something like that. But ultimately, when you look at the free agent market, I don't know. There's just not. Welcome back, buddy.
Thank you.
There's just not a whole lot to write home about. The three guys that I highlighted while you were gone were Jose Abreu, Anthony Rizzo, and Josh Bell.
I mean, Rizzo off the top. I mean, Abreu is like.
I don't know if he'll opt out in New York.
That's fair. I mean, if you're just talking talent wise, Rizzo's obviously at the later part of his career. But
32.
Still,
I thought he was older than that.
That's fair, but still continues to be a unbelievably great defensive first baseman.
Well,
who can still hit. Who can still hit.
He did play with Shorbo too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
but I think it's like if you can get Abreu, like that dude.
He's 36.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
From the White Sox?
Yes.
That dude's 36?
Yes.
That's not a true statement.
It is. He's
What's his name?
Years old. Jose Abreu. He's 36.
No, he's not.
He was born in
5 years old. Holy Christ. Didn't he just start playing well like 3 years ago?
He'll be 36 when the season starts. He turns 36 in January.
All right, forget that then. I thought that dude was like 28.
I mean, he had a really down year this year too. He only had 15 home runs offensively, and you're not going to get a whole lot.
I thought he was 28.
So he for me, no.
I'm with you now.
I could be talked into Anthony Rizzo. I could even be talked into Josh Bell, but defensively, Bell's brutal.
Yeah,
so
fair.
I mean, at that point, for me, now Eric Hosmer's on this list.
Oh, he's up there though, isn't he?
33.
Yeah.
And the only reason that intrigues me is because of the defense.
I mean, he's still a really good first baseman.
He can't hit worth a lick.
No, he cannot.
So
but what does that make the difference? What's the difference?
I mean,
Rhys hit a little bit. That's true.
Rhys is worth 30 plus home runs in the regular season. So,
but okay, so let's go. Let's maybe ask you this question, and we're already at almost an hour. So
yeah, we got to move.
We'll wrap this up
moving.
real quick. But last question about this. Moving. Last question. Do you think this run makes Rhys any different? Because let me just ask you why. I think this run makes Alec Boehm different. I think it makes Bryson Stott different. I think it makes Brandon Marsh different. I really do. I really honestly believe that this run makes those guys different. That this is the first time these kids have ever been this far, and it makes an impact on them moving forward. Is there a chance that Rhys takes something away from this and changes something, adjusts something to make himself more like able to actually hit a baseball in the postseason?
No, I think Rhys is who he is, and
God, that's disappointing.
I think the harder part, like Boehm is a totally different player than he was in April, right? Like, I talked about this with my dad constantly. Boehm,
Big Tom, shout out Big Tom.
Boehm has made so many improvements.
Oh yeah,
but Rhys hasn't.
No, he is not. He's been almost worse.
And I am such a Rhys defender, and I love Rhys. And if he does go, I'm going to be really sad about it. But the other thing you have to remember about Rhys is he's probably not re-signing here. So we're spending a lot of time here because this is the most intriguing storyline of the offseason.
Absolutely.
It is the most intriguing storyline of the offseason. If they feel like they're able to plug that hole for one more year, we might see an entirely different right side of the infield come April. The other option is, you basically release Gene to re-sign him to a shorter, cheaper deal, trade Reese, move Bohm to first. But I really, let's jump over to Alec here, because I think we already mentioned Stott. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
He might move to a different position. I think shortstop. I mean, because Xander Bogaerts is also a possibility.
Yeah.
He's
a third baseman, right?
No, he's a shortstop. I really want Trey Turner, like in all the worst ways.
He solved so many problems for this lineup.
Oh my God. Like all of the problems.
Yeah. Almost all of the problems.
Yep. All of the problems. I thought for some reason Rafael Devers was a free agent, but I guess he's not. The other guy that's a free agent is Dansby Swanson. I don't want anything to do with him, but he's a free agent too. Tim Anderson's a free agent. There are a lot of shortstops.
Shit, Anderson. Jesus.
The White Sox have a club option on him, so I don't know if
they'll probably pick that up.
Go. But so we were gonna jump over to Bomer.
Yeah.
And that dude has improved so much at third base even the play he made tonight. I know it was Maldonado running, and it drove me crazy that all we talked about after he made that play was it was a catcher running, and that's why the play was made. If it was Pena, we probably have, about a 20-minute seance about how great he is. But Alec Bohm has made some plays. There was a play when I was there the other night where he stepped on third and threw across
got
his
the double
body.
play. Huge.
The improvements that kid has made and the confidence that he's playing with right now, he's only going to get better.
Yes.
So I really hesitate in moving him across the diamond after he just made all these changes and improvements defensively. So I think if you're going to make any change, you get stronger on the left side. You get stronger on I don't know. I guess you get a little stronger by moving Bryson Stott to second base. Segura is really good, so I don't know.
I think Stott can be just as good.
And then, yeah, for sure, maybe even a little better because of the youth. And if you feel like adding a guy like if Anthony Rizzo does leave and you want to bring him here, he's 32 years old. The problem is the Phillies, and I said this while you were gone, they don't have a ton in the pipeline at first base.
Right.
So, an Anthony Rizzo 1-year deal only plugs you for that year.
Right. Doesn't help a ton.
So,
what's the third baseman market, though?
I mean,
if you were to move Bohm to first hypothetically, that's a now 25-year-old, 26-year-old who's playing first base for you, who has shown an ability to improve defensively. Right.
I mean, unless you're interested in bringing over 37-year-old Evan Longoria.
No, thank you.
Or 38-year-old Justin Turner.
No, thank you. Is there anybody else we could have?
No, I mean, and not third basemen aren't the only people that can play that position. You can put a left fielder there, a right fielder there. They could tinker with the idea of Schwarber there. I could tinker with the idea of saving Bryce's arm and putting him there. I don't know, man. All I know is I think the infield's going to look differently next year. So we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
We'll do our off season here in the next couple of weeks, but
yeah.
I think the infield looks very different next year. Kyle Schwarber. Clearly, the guy was fantastic for us this year. I anticipate the average jumping another 15 to 20 points with the shift going
as advertised.
I think it'll jump because, the shift disappearing.
All those hits to shallow right field, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's another 25, 30 hits in there.
Oh, easily. Him and Bryce.
Yeah. Yeah. So that can be said for both of them. Will he be playing left field? Probably. Could they move him? Potentially, because there's a Japanese outfielder that loves Bryce Harper and wants to play in Philly and is going to get posted. So that's another possible solution for them. Schwarber has played some first. He's not great.
Wait, who are you talking about?
The Japanese player.
Yeah.
You have not seen this story?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to send it to you.
You please.
Hold on, I got to pull it back up.
I almost thought you were talking about freaking Ohtani for a second.
No, I don't want. No. I don't want to. I don't want to put his name in and say it wrong.
Okay, that's fair. Just send it to me, and we'll move on.
Yeah, I will. But there is a Japanese outfielder who's like one of the best players in Japan.
I love it.
And he named his dog after Bryce Harper.
I love it.
So, there's definitely a possibility that like they could consider doing something like that.
The difference this year is that with Bryce's elbow injury, which we hope doesn't require surgery in the offseason.
Well, we're going to talk about that. Masataka Yoshika.
It threw their DH plans in like for a loop. And granted, Castellanos defensively has been much better than we thought he would be.
Yeah.
Schwarber bobbled 2 balls tonight, which almost led to 2 extra doubles.
Yeah.
He got the Bregman out by a finger, literally a tip of a finger.
Yeah. It's a great play. They didn't talk enough about it.
It was. Great tag by Gene. But again, Schwarber is not like a guy you want to put in left field every day. You want to give him chances at DH.
Right.
You want to give Castellanos days at DH, right? That was the whole plan. Bryce's elbow injury obviously prevented that, and we really hope he doesn't need the dreaded TJ to fix it.
So his name's Masataka Yoshika. I don't have all his numbers. I'll send you the article later, but he is one of the better players in Japan. He's a lefty bat. And if they feel like they can make Schwarber a first baseman, then that's probably the solution. Because if Harper is healthy, then your outfield becomes a lot better defensively.
Yes.
At that point, as long as Dickerson feels like they can make Schwarber into a first baseman.
Right.
His offense fits that profile.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it does help long term with his contract too. All right, jumping over to center field. Brandon Marsh, we talked about him. He'll be here. I do want to see him get more at bats against left-handed pitching next year for sure.
For sure. I don't think you need to take him out for Veerling anymore.
Yeah.
Unless it's like he's played 9 days in a row and you just want to take him out just to give him a day off. He's young. He's clearly seen improvements under Kevin Long, even against lefties. He needs to be your everyday center fielder, flat out, just full stop. No platoon, no like bringing in Veerling every second day. Forget that. Brandon Marsh is your center fielder, and he needs to get at bats against lefties and just go from there.
And I think that'll be the case. I think a full off season with Kevin Long will do that.
Yeah.
And now we're going to jump over to right field, and we'll talk about Nick. Regz, I am praying to the baseball gods that over the next week we read a random tweet that says Nick Castellanos is having wrist surgery or sports hernia surgery or
whatever it is,
something that explains why he
doesn't recognize why a baseball spins.
I've never seen a decline of of the one that Nick Castellanos had this season. The guy hit 30 home runs last year, 13 as a Philly.
Awful. Just awful. Had no idea what pitch was coming.
I think that he's going to turn it around next year? Yes. I do.
What do you contribute this year to? What happened?
Well, I mean, he talked about it a little bit. There's a great article in The Athletic, and he does talk about.
I should pay the $2.99 for that, but I just don't.
It's an incredible site.
I know it is
all the time.
I love Matt Gelb, and I love Jason Stark and all those guys.
Yeah. There's a lot that he went through this year. He signed late. New city, new team, new teammates, new baby.
death in the family. Like there was a whole bunch of stuff,
Yeah,
right?
we had a death in the family. Like there's a lot of things that happened to Nick Castellanos this year. And you know, he was hot when he got hit in the wrist. And then it just was no good anymore. Again, I never wish injury on anybody, but what I mean when I say that is it would be the reason why he struggled so much this year. And I don't anticipate him struggling that much again. He's just the back of the baseball. How can you be
that good of a pitcher? How can you be that good of a hitter and do this? That shit just doesn't go away.
I really do look forward to next year with Nick Castellanos because I think he's going to be a very different player.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see this dude. Like, that's all we've wanted. Is this guy after Harper? Because the guys in front of Harper have been terrible. But all we wanted is for that guy to protect Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
Or when Bryce hits a double, this guy comes up and can hit the ball hard to any part of the baseball field.
Yeah.
And score him. He's been a shell. Yeah. An absolute ghost.
Yeah. And again, like, you know, Kyle Schwarber played to the back of his baseball card. And I don't anticipate
for
that.
Sure.
Bryce Harper did the same thing. JT did the same thing. He didn't. And he didn't consistently from like June on. And I think if he does, you know, you get a step forward from Bomer next year. You get a step forward from Bryson next year. You get a step forward from Brandon next year. You bring Trey Turner over. You know, it changes the game.
Yeah.
You add another starter. You bring Andrew Painter. This team could be a force. They could be a very difficult team to face. Come postseason with that sort of a lineup and Castellanos finding himself and everything falling in line. But Regz, there's one big piece of this puzzle that we haven't talked about yet. And this is where we're going to stop. Bryce Harper. This was another reason why for me winning it this year was so important. Because if that dude needs that dreaded surgery,
God damn it,
we won't see him until
a year and a half from now.
Hard to say. The average is 11 months.
11 months, yeah.
For position players. There have been 39 position players that have needed it. If he needs to get it, he's probably getting it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you pray that Bryce's quick healing is exactly that.
Yeah, and his work ethic and all that.
And that it's 8 months, 6 to 8 months, and he's back in late July. But if he's not here, I don't.
I mean, it's like you said, it's the situation that we were in this year. It's, can Nick Castellanos pull his head out of his ass? So here's what I'll say. Obviously, that's the worst case scenario. I pray to whatever universe is out there, because fuck off God. But like, I pray to whatever universe is out there that isn't necessary. Do I think that's the case? No. I honestly think he's getting that in the next week or two. If I'm going to be dead serious with myself, he's getting it in a week. If Nick Castellanos can be who he's supposed to be, he is not a full replacement of Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper has been unbelievable these past 2 years. But if Nick Castellanos can play, can hit the way he's supposed to hit, and we have a guy like Trey Turner in the lineup, we don't have a Rhys Hoskins. Like, I don't think this team is going to be as far behind as we would think they would be without him. Will they be behind? 1,000%, because Bryce Harper is that good of a baseball player. But if Nick Castellanos can get his head out of his ass, and we can solidify the top of this lineup somehow, I don't think it'll be as bad as possible. I don't know, man. I just hope maybe he can go to Germany and get like the Kobe like platelet replacement, and somehow it grows his UCL back. Who knows? Maybe they figure something out. But
Here's a fun tweet, and it kind of, I don't know, it made me smile. Kyle Schwarber, Rhys Hoskins, Alec Boehm, Nick Castellanos, Matt Vierling, Garrett Stubbs, and Derek Hall are sitting in a circle, unshowered, having a beer in the clubhouse after they lost the World Series, reminiscing about the season. These guys actually do love each other.
that's great. Nick, can you get your head out of your ass
There
and
it is.
realize what a
There it
curveball
is.
looks like or a
There
slider
it
looks
is.
like?
There it is.
Great. Have a beer with everyone. Have a million. Maybe you'll forget about how you fucking hit this season. You trash can.
There it is. Maybe he will jump back. I'll be curious to see what the next couple of days bring in terms of Bryce, and because we'll know. Like, this isn't gonna. It's not gonna be quiet.
No,
We're gonna know,
and they're not going to put it off for a month either. It's going to happen
No,
fast.
if he needs it, he's gonna get it right away.
Oh yeah,
But what's
absolutely.
that he's still signed up to play for the World Baseball
Yeah, I
Classic.
know, right?
Like, that has not changed for a moment. So, and I was talking about this with friend of the show, Adam Schaefer, today, and he said, look, we don't know. It might not be as serious as we think it is.
Yeah,
And that
maybe.
they just didn't want it. They didn't want it to get serious.
right. You
So-
you take them out to not make it worse.
And maybe there's another type of surgery that they can do to prevent it.
Yeah.
And go to that point. The other, there's a lot of options here. I don't know, man, because when it all went down, they could have had him do it in June before they got hot.
Yeah,
And they never did. So we'll see. I there's part of me that's hoping, no one's asking those questions tonight. He said after the game he's not satisfied, he's angry. And if there's one thing I can say about Bryce Harper, it's an angry Bryce Harper is really good for us and bad for the rest of the league. So,
I can't effing wait to get an angry Bryce Harper next season.
as long as he's healthy,
A guy who got there and realized like we didn't do it, and a guy who's just mad.
and I don't think he's the only one.
No, he's not.
I don't think he's the only one. These guys who played in that stadium and heard that crowd
Yep.
and felt that energy.
Bryson Stott sat for 20 minutes and watched the Astros celebrate.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of guys who really want to live out the rest of that story
Yep,
with this city.
absolutely.
And this was a heck of a run, man.
It was, man.
It was a heck of a run, and it was a lot of fun. And I just think, Dave Dombrowski knows what this team needs. We talked a little bit about, Rhys being the leader, but I think, now with Kyle Schwarber on this roster, that could be the guy that replaces that leadership. And,
Yeah,
you replace that right-handed bat with the right-handed bat of like a Trey Turner, and a game changer. He's an absolute game changer.
Yeah.
So, the minors, there's not a ton of depth there, but we got some arms coming. I don't know, man. I don't know if I have a fixated tonight. I'll say this, and then maybe we wrap it. The last time the Astros won a World Series, the Eagles won the Super Bowl. So, go Birds.
that's right. There it is. Go Birds.
I'll
8-0.
probably have a fixated on Thursday night.
That's right. We'll have it next week.
In regards to this season, I need more time to.
That's fair. We're just
process.
raw and emotional right now.
Yeah. Well, I know, and people are gonna be like, "Why are they talking about next season?" Well, you know what? Next season started the minute that ball fell into Kyle Tucker, hate the face guy,
Yeah, Gumby's glove.
into his glove. That's when next season
Exactly right.
started. Pitchers and catchers are like 100 days away already.
Literally
So,
100 days.
It's it's been a while since we've gotten this far, And
it's been a long time since we gotten this far.
It's been fun. So hopefully this team, they tasted it, they add to what they have.
Now they want it more. Now they want it more.
Add a starter, add Andrew Painter, add Trey Turner. Let's ride.
Let's ride.
Let's ride. Let's ride. You know, there are guys who are gonna have to take steps up, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah, that's for another
later.
podcast.
But goodness gracious, let's ride. What a fun season, Regz. Phillies, thank you so much. My gosh. As we talk tonight, I already feel better. You know, they weren't supposed to be there.
They weren't. No one
and they
thought they would.
And including us.
That's true.
And they gave us one hell of a ride.
They did.
So thank you guys, especially Bryce Harper.
That's right.
Thank you.
All praise Bryce Harper.
Bryce Harper's forearm, elbow, please be okay.
Yeah, please be okay.
Please be okay. I need a full Bryce season. All right, Regz. Well, listen, man, Thursday night we'll be back. For those of you that listen to all these recaps, thank you for spending that time with us. We're so appreciative of all the love. Thursday, you'll get the story. We'll lead off with the story from Halloween. You know, we'll certainly consider a Phillies off-season type of pod. If not this Thursday, the following Thursday, we'll catch up a little bit on the Birds and the Sixers.
Yep.
You know, I feel like we owe the Sixers a little bit of time, even though they haven't been winning a whole lot.
A little bit.
We got to catch up a little, though. And then certainly, you know, the Birds 8-0 heading into a divisional game at home on Monday night with the Commanders. So we'll preview that game and recap a little bit of the Texans game. But again, thank you guys so much for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, please click subscribe below. Make sure that you follow us on Instagram at BNB Podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at the same handle. Follow the podcast itself at Phixated Pod. We'll start tweeting again now.
We will. Now that it's over. We will.
We certainly could have tried to change that juju after the no-hitter, but didn't do it. We stuck to our guns.
Had to keep it rolling.
Yep. We will. You can find me at the Mic Drop 5. Find Regz at Big Regz with a Z. And you can follow us on the Phixated fan page, which is 7 followers away from 100.
Come on, people.
So keep it rolling, keep sharing, and certainly want to thank everybody who's jumped on board with that. For our last postseason recap show, I just got goosebumps saying it. Go Phils. Thank you for everything. What a run. So appreciative. We love you. Thank you. Leave with that. Everybody take care.
We love you,
Go
Phillies.
Phils.
Bring it back to us in a few years or next year, whatever you feel like. See everybody.
Oh my God! Deep to right field, way up there and way out of here.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.